Selena Rivers had never backed down from a challenge, especially not when Grant McCall was involved. He was the only person in the annual High Mesa Cattle Drive competition who could match her skill, speed, and stubbornness. The two had been trading glares and barbed words all morning as their herds moved across the dusty trail toward the checkpoint. The sun blazed overhead, and Selena kept pushing her mare forward, determined to stay ahead. Grant rode not far behind, his hat tipped low and his jaw set. She didn't have to look to know he was smirking. That man smirked more than he spoke, but everything changed when the wind shifted. At first, Selena thought the faint orange shimmer on the horizon was the sun hitting the rocks. Then she smelled its smoke, a lot of it. The sky thickened, turning brown at the edges, and horses began to snort and paw nervously. Grant shouted. Within minutes, the flames leaped across the trail behind them, blocking the path back to town. The crackling roar was deafening. The heat rolled toward them like a living creature. Selena's heart raced. "We need cover, now." Grant nodded, scanning the terrain. "Canyon cut is our best shot. Its rocky fire won't jump it as fast." They pushed their horses hard, driving them into a narrow ravine, just as the flames swept across the trail they'd been riding minutes before. Smoke curled above the high walls, turning the sky into a swirling haze. The canyon was safe for the moment, but they were trapped. Selena slid from her saddle as her horse trembled. She leaned against the canyon wall, trying to catch her breath. Grant dismounted beside her, wiping soot from his cheek. "You all right?" he asked, voice low and surprisingly gentle. She nodded, though her hands shook. "I'm fine. Just didn't see that coming." Grant chuckled, without humor. "Nobody did. Looks like you and I are stuck here a while." Selena met his eyes. There was no rivalry in them, now only determination and a hint of worry. "Great," she muttered. "Just what I needed. Me and you, alone." Grant's lips curved into that familiar smirk. "Trust me, sweetheart. I didn't plan on getting trapped with my toughest competition either." But beneath his teasing tone, something else flickered, something warmer, more dangerous than fire. And for the first time, Selena wasn't sure she wanted to outrun it. The fire continued to rage above them, sending ash drifting into the canyon like black snow. Selena paced the rocky ground, glancing up at the sky every few minutes to check the movement of the smoke. Grant sat on an overturned saddlebag, sharpening his pocket knife with calm she found infuriating. "How are you so relaxed?" she snapped. "We're stuck in a canyon with a wall of flames outside." Grant lifted one brow. "Panicking won't change a thing. Might as well keep my hands busy." Selena rolled her eyes, but couldn't deny he had a point. The heat pressed against them like a heavy blanket, and the smoke was making her throat raw. They needed water, shade, and a plan. She scouted the canyon floor, eventually finding a shallow pool formed from last week's rainfall. "Water," she called, relieved. Grant joined her, letting the horses drink first. When she knelt to scoop water into her hands, her knees buckled. Grant caught her elbow quickly. "Easy," he murmured. "You inhaled too much smoke." She pulled away, embarrassed. "I'm fine. You're stubborn. That's what you are. And you're arrogant." Grant grinned. "Glad we agree on something." Despite herself, Selena smirked. Their bickering felt familiar, comforting, even, and now that they weren't racing cattle side by side, he didn't seem like her enemy. Still, she wasn't ready to admit she liked the way he said her name. As the fire cracked above them, Grant began gathering fallen branches. "We'll need a campfire when the temperature drops." Selena blinked. "You want to start another fire? You're insane." "This canyon gets cold at night," he explained. "A small fire won't spread here, I promise." His confidence soothed her nerves more than she wanted to admit. She sat beside him as he worked, watching the sparks glow against the encroaching darkness. After a while, Grant said softly, "You know, you ride better than anyone I've met." Selena stiffened. "Is that supposed to be a compliment?" "It's the truth." His voice dropped. "I always push hard in the competition because I know you'll push harder. Makes me want to be better." For cheeks, warmed not from the fire. Grant. Before she could respond, a distant rumble echoed above them. Grant tensed. That doesn't sound like wind. Selena's pulse quickened as the ground trembled lightly beneath them. Whatever was coming next, they would have to face it together. The rumbling grew louder, bouncing off the canyon walls. Selena grabbed her horse's reins, instinctively pulling the animal close. Grant stepped in front of her, scanning the narrow ridge above. "Hawkslide," he shouted. Seconds later, stones began tumbling from the canyon rim. Not huge boulders, thankfully, but enough to injure a horse or break a leg. "Move." Grant grabbed Selena's hand and pulled her beneath a natural overhang as rocks clattered around them. Dust stung her eyes, and she clung to Grant's arm until the noise faded. When silence finally settled, she realized her face was still pressed against his chest. His heartbeat thudded steadily beneath her cheek. She pulled back, flustered. I'm fine." "You sure?" His thumb brushed soot from her cheek before he could stop himself. She looked away, breath uneven. She wasn't used to him touching her gently. Grant cleared his throat and stepped back. "We'll stay under the overhang until we're sure it's done." They sat across from each other, knees almost touching. The fire crackled softly beside them, surrounded by stones Grant had carefully placed. Selena wrapped her arms around herself. "I didn't think today would end like this." "Neither did I." Grant leaned back against the rock wall. "Selena, can I tell you something?" Her stomach fluttered. "Depends what it is." He smirked. "Not a confession of undying love, if that's what you're worried about." She threw a pebble at him. "Just say it." His expression softened. "I never hated you, not once." Selena blinked. "You sure fooled me." "That was me hiding it. Competing with you made me feel alive. Every time I saw you on that trail, I knew you'd beat half the men out here. Maybe me too." She swallowed hard. "I thought you were trying to get under my skin." Grant chuckled. "I was, but not for the reason you think." Heat rushed to her cheeks. Before she could respond, the wind shifted again. The smoke above them thinned, revealing patches of sky. "Fires moving north," Grant said. "Trail might open by morning." Selena nodded, but a knot tightened in her chest. Leaving this canyon meant leaving this version of him, the honest one. Grant stretched his legs out, eyes on the fire. "You know, if today taught me anything, it's that life's too short for pretending." Selena's breath caught. Maybe tomorrow wouldn't end the way she expected either. The night grew colder, forcing Selena and Grant to sit closer to the small campfire. Selena rubbed her hands together, staring at the flames flickering between them. Grant tossed a spare blanket over her shoulders. "You're shivering." She immediately pushed it back, toward him. "I'm not taking your blanket." "Then we're sharing it," he said firmly. Her heart stuttered. Grant sat beside her, draping the blanket so it wrapped around both their shoulders. The warmth of him seeped through the fabric, steady and undeniable. She tried not to lean into him, and failed. For a long while, neither spoke. Smoke drifted upward like faded memories, and the only sounds were the crackle of firewood and distant pops of dying embers on the canyon rim. Eventually, Selena whispered, "Why didn't you ever say any of that before, about admiring me?" Grant's voice was low. "Because I figured you'd laugh in my face, or were so tried me even harder." She smiled softly. I know." Silence again. But this time, it felt warm, comfortable. Grant hesitated, before adding, "The truth is, I always noticed you, the way you ride, the way you never back down, the way you look at the world, like it's some challenge you're determined to whip." Selena's cheeks warmed. "You talk too much when you're trapped in a canyon, maybe. Or maybe the fire made me honest." She toyed with a loose thread on the blanket. "I didn't hate you either. You annoy me. Yes, but I never hated you." Grant's eyes softened. "Good to know." Her heart hammered against her ribs. She took a breath. "Maybe they don't have to." Grant's eyes lingered on hers, and the firelight made everything softer, dangerous, hopeful. He leaned forward, just a fraction. Selena didn't pull away, and somewhere above them, the last embers of the brushfire faded into the night. Dawn broke over the canyon in gold and rose-colored streaks. Selena woke to the warmth of Grant, still wrapped under the shared blanket. For a moment, she stayed still, listening to the quiet morning and feeling strangely safe. Grant stirred. "Morning, partner," she smiled. Morning. Together, they saddled the horses and rode to the canyon mouth. The trail was charred but clear enough to pass. When they emerged from the rocky walls, the world beyond looked scarred, but peaceful, the kind of sunrise that felt like a new beginning. "Think the competition's still on?" Grant asked. Selena chuckled. "After yesterday, they'll probably call the whole thing off." "Shame," he teased. "I wanted one more chance to lose to you." She bumped his shoulder with hers. "You wouldn't have stood a chance." They rode until the town's outline appeared in the distance. Only then did Selena slow her horse. Something tugged at her, something unspoken. Grant noticed immediately. "What's wrong?" She hesitated. "What happens now?" Grant guided his horse closer. "I meant what I said last night. I don't want to go back to pretending we're enemies." Selena swallowed hard. "And if people talk, they already talk." He laughed. "Might as well give em something real to gossip about." Her lips curved into a slow smile. "And what exactly would they be gossiping about?" He leaned in, eyes warm and steady. "About the two best riders in the territory, deciding they're better together than apart." Selena's heart fluttered, but she kept her voice steady. "You sure about that?" Grant reached out and gently took her hand, where it rested on the reins. "Selena Rivers, I've never been more sure of anything." She squeezed his hand back. "All right then." They continued down the trail, hands brushing occasionally. The unspoken promise between them, growing stronger with every step of their horses. "When we get back," she said, "we're finishing that cattle drive together." Grant grinned. "Thought you'd never ask." As the town came fully into view, Selena realized the canyon hadn't just trapped them, it had changed them. The fire had stripped away the rivalry, the walls, the stubborn pride. What remained was real, unexpected, and worth fighting for. Grant whispered, "Firelight Confessions, huh?" She smiled. "Guess the flames do bring out the truth." And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Western stories.